Hi. Gang, gang, gang. Gang, gang. Does forgiveness mean reconciliation? And that's what we're talking about on today's topic. Gang, gang. Hello, my subscribers. Hello, guys. You're welcome to an amazing episode on EWL Podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host, it is Luchi Gloria, and we are here with some tea. So this topic is really, really sensitive. I don't know what's your take on this topic, but I'm curious to find out what you think about this topic. So does forgiveness mean reconciliation? Forgiving a person doesn't necessarily mean you have to reconcile. Because coming to this studio today, I was really pissed, and someone that I really hold dearly is like a family to me, and it really pissed me off. And I know it's something that has been reoccurring. I've been telling him I don't like this, but he keeps doing it. So the question is, are we going to forgive this person? Since we are speaking on forgiveness, so yes, we're going to forgive the person. So like I said, our topic today is the concept of forgiveness and reconciliation. Who moves forward in the relationship? Is it the person who forgave or the person who has been forgiven? That is what we're talking about. And the topic. And yeah, I can't keep my mouth shut because I am in my studio. We are grateful to God as usual. Back to our topic. So I have a very close friend of mine. She has been on previous season of EWL podcast. She's a frequent customer. I hope I have her in the studio soon. So my friend, we are really close right now. She's like a sister to me. But before we got to this point that we are, I think sometime 3 years back, we were not speaking for almost a year and 6 months. And it was a very difficult time. Even in my heart, for me to get to that point where forgiving a person becomes a very difficult task. It means I have been really offended. So it was a situation where she has to forgive me and I had to forgive her. But my own, and even when she was at the point of reconciliation, I was not ready to reconcile with her because I was like, no, I'm pissed off. I don't want anything that would disturb my mental health. I'm very passionate about my mental health. I would cut you off. It's not a thing of being proud. It's just, I am a very sensitive person and I tend to protect everything that will make me, like anything negative, I don't want it in my corner. So I'm really, really conscious about the energy I keep around because it messes me up big time. So yeah, guys. So at the point where she wanted to reconcile, we had spoken, we're cool, but it was like, babe, we know the quarrel day or day make a day my day. I'm like, I just want to be chilled. But I missed her. She's really a good friend. So what happened is she was at the point of reconciliation, but me, I was not ready to reconcile. When we spoke, my other friend told me, oh, Luchi, you don't do now. What's the problem? And she being a good person that she is, she tried as much as possible to make sure that we get to that point where we are back to being friends. And eventually we sorted out our issue and we forgive ourselves and we met at that point of reconciliation. But there are some cases where you have been really hurt by a person, or the person has offended you. It does not even have to be someone really, really close to you. Maybe just a random person you are like cordial with, and the person like pisses you off big time. And there's a question of, should I forgive this person? And yes, it's in our own good for us to forgive the person, because like I say, forgiveness does a lot for you as a person, not necessarily the other person. Forgiveness gives you your peace. Forgiveness gives you your smile. Forgiveness makes you really light. And so that's what I want to highlight on the topic of forgiveness today. So which situation have you been in where it was really difficult for you to forgive the person involved? Was it a case that I've forgiven this person, but I don't want this person in my space? Was it a case of you're trying to protect your energy, like myself, because I always protect my energy? I would not want to trade my peace of mind for anything. And you know that this person is a constant offender. Was it a case of, oh, I have forgiven you, but I'm still hot? Was it a case of, I have forgiven you, but you are a constant offender and I think you will do the same thing to me again? What was the case for you? And how difficult was it for you to forgive the person? For me, how I would treat my own case on several occasions. So there's really deep moments where forgiveness is not even a question. You have to forgive the person. I've been hurt by my brothers so many times. Like I would cry. I would cry and tell him that you pissed me off. I'm so mad at you. I don't want to forgive you. But this is somebody I love so dearly. And being able to forgive that person is not a question to me, because I really care for this person. It's somebody I always want to have in my corner. So yes, I forgive him. But there are situations, I think I've also been in the same situation where somebody pissed me off and I'm like, I forgive you and I don't want you in my space. I forgive you. We are cool. We can say hi to each other, but that does not really mean that we have reconciled. So in the point where you forgive a person and the person is looking back to having that cordial relationship with you, looking back to having that same relationship with you, in quotes, what is the next step in that situation? Who moves forward with the relationship? If the person in question, the person you forgive, wants to move forward in the relationship, and you who forgive the person is not ready to move on with the relationship, what are we going to do at that point? What is the action we take at that point to forgive, to allow forgiveness and reconciliation happen at the same time? Another concept of forgiveness we necessarily do not pay attention to, and I'm so passionate about self this season, is our own self. There are a lot of times, like me yesterday, something happened to me yesterday. So I'm so embarrassed to share this story. You can be smart and beautiful all the time, but there are some times when your fuck up will stink. And you'll be like, let me do this kind of thing, let me do this thing, and you'll be asking yourself a lot of questions. And I want us to understand that we are not perfect as human beings. We tend to make mistakes. So the question of forgiveness comes in here because guess what? Nobody is perfect. So why do you expect to be perfect? Why do you believe like you're going to be perfect? The question of forgiveness pops up again. We have to learn to forgive ourselves. And I think the kind of relationship we have with ourselves will determine the kind of relationship you would have outside. If you find it difficult to even forgive yourself as a person, I wonder how it is with other people. Some people, they offend somebody and it's easy for the person to forgive them. But for them, forgiveness is a big issue for them. They don't even know how to move past situations. Mind you, I have also highlighted that there are some situations where forgiveness is necessary, but reconciliation is not necessary. So the fact that you forgive yourself for a particular fuck up, or the fact that you forgive yourself for a particular issue, does not necessarily mean that you have to relax on those issues. The fact that you forgive a person on a particular issue does not necessarily mean that you have to reconcile. Personally speaking, does not necessarily mean you have to go back to the way things are. So when I use reconciliation, it's really deep for a lot of people, because people will be like, forgiveness means reconciliation. But I do not agree with their terms. Tell me what you think about it. Do you really think that forgiveness means reconciliation? Do you think you have to get back there with the person? Because people will piss you off. There are people that do not have emotional intelligence and they will piss you off to the last dime. They will, when somebody's, the funny thing, when I talk about self-forgiveness, is you not putting yourself in that situation for that person to hurt you the way the person hurt you the previous time. So imagine putting yourself in a situation where you are worn out of emotions. Somebody's hurting you for the first time, somebody's hurting you for the second time, and you keep forgiving. Even though the Bible said that if somebody slaps you, you should turn your face to the other side, let the person slap you. No. The Bible is a very special book that needs God's own understanding for you to understand. Because I've seen a situation where people are worn out of emotion. They are constantly forgiving a certain person. They are constantly practicing the arts of forgiveness. But the message in this episode today is, I don't think and I believe that forgiveness do not really mean that you have to be there for the person all the time. Forgiveness does not necessarily mean you have to reconcile. It's deep, but I totally believe that for us to be able to protect our space, for us to be able to protect our mental health, for us to be able to protect our being as a person, for us not to act out of character, for stability, basically, I don't think that in all situations, forgiveness necessarily means reconciliation. The message is tough. It's a very hard pill to swallow today, but it is what it is, because humans will always be humans, and we always have to forgive, because that is what the Bible have taught us. He said we should forgive those who trespass against us. as God has forgiven us. So yes, forgiveness is a commandment that we must obey. But I don't really think that when you forgive, reconciliation has to happen immediately or aftermath. Do you think the relationship is worth restoring? Do you think that relationship is worth it? Do you think that relationship is worth reconciliation? Concluding on this topic, I want to hear your thoughts. I want you guys to share your thoughts with me. What does forgiveness means to you? I don't think I have a lot of experience when it comes to forgiveness, because for me to get to that point where I cannot forgive or forgiveness becomes a very serious issue, it means there is no reconciliation. Why in some cases there are some relationship that forgiveness is not even a question. You just have to forgive the person because the relationship itself is very, very important to you. Concluding, how many relationships are we going to check this period? How many relationships is affecting us? And it's putting us in a situation where we would put a relationship before our self-care. Self-care is very important, and that's why I think I'm very passionate about this season. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others. Does forgiveness mean reconciliation to you? And how do you apply these both concepts, in our life as a person, period. So guys, we celebrated Women's Day last week, and I'm here to wish all the beautiful lady out there a happy International Women's Day. It's late, what I have to say is happy International Women's Day to my audience. I pray for more empowerment, and I pray for more barrier breaking grounds for us. Yeah, we are breaking barriers, and that's in period. Okay, guys, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. Yeah, follow my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment. And on Instagram, EW_podcast, Luchi Emitizi on Facebook, Luchi Emitizi on Twitter. Your host Emitizi Luchi Gloria. Don't forget to spread love. It is what I was talking about this topic. Don't forget to spread love, because God is love. Love is God. Have an amazing week. Bye, guys. Zinga, zinga.